Radio. Rahim with the dream, Devin Haney. You must have had some pretty decent dreams while they had you doped up,
Yeah, no, really.
getting that shoulder fix. You're a very young man, and to be getting surgery now on a shoulder as a boxer, I would imagine it had to have been something of a scary experience.
Yeah, when it happened, a lot of people thought that I was just like joking, not joking. They didn't think that I was like really that serious. I told them that I hurt my shoulder, but I honestly didn't think it was that intense until later I started to see that how serious it was. So once going through that whole process, it was definitely scary. I never really had hurt anything ever in my life, so it was crazy, but I feel like it happened for the best because never in my life have I ever took a break from boxing. Even when, between my fights, I'm always in the gym, I'm always training. It finally gave me time to rest and recover and to miss boxing and to be back motivated again.
It's far from superstition. It's a reasonable concern that having a surgery, you never know how your body will respond.
Yes.
You don't know if is the quickness still there, is the power still there.
Yeah.
Have you been able to test it and get confident that the surgery was not just helpful but didn't take anything from you?
Yeah, no, I haven't been able to test it that much. I just finally been able to use it. Right now I'm going through physical therapy, so where I'm just doing light stuff with it. So I haven't really been able to test it that much yet, but eventually I will. And, hopefully I come back, better. They're saying that that's going to be as good as new when I come back, so we'll see.
You talked about knowing that you hurt your shoulder, not knowing the severity of it. When did you become aware that you had an issue with the shoulder?
Well, after the fight, a couple of days later, it was still hurting. When I would do certain movements, I would hear like a clicking noise, and it would hurt still. So maybe like 2 weeks later, I went to a doctor, a specialist, and that's when they told me that it's a tear in it, and they showed me the MRIs and the X-rays, and it was a whole tear inside my shoulder.
And did that happen in the one fight, or is this the kind of injury that goes like?
No, it happened in the fight. If you look at the fight closely, you can see that when it happened, my arm was out. You can see it it was sticking out. But I put my poker face on. I showed that I was true champion and I could fight through adversity, and that I wasn't just making an excuse.
I know you have fighters on your list, and you got a hit list, and they're big names and excellent fighters. With a situation like this, do you need a tune-up? Do you want to test it against an opponent that might not be at the elite level, just so you can find out where you are?
It's really up to my team. They know what's best for me. I'm willing to fight, the best of them, coming right back, because I know my talent, I know my skills, and I feel like I can beat these top guys. So I'm willing to make the biggest fights happen at all of 2020.
You talked about never having taken a break from boxing. That makes sense. To get where you are as a young man, you have to, no days off, as they say.
Yeah.
But since you were forced to have some days off, how'd you spend that time?
Man, just recovering, spending a lot of time with my family and my friends. At first, I really wasn't able to go that many places because, one, I couldn't really make like that much movements with my right shoulder. And two, you never know, like people approach you and they're happy to see you, and they want to shake your hand or hard, or they try to hug you and stuff like that, and with that you don't want to mess anything up, so I really just was in the house, just resting.
Come next fight, whomever that is, do you feel like you need to make a statement at your first fight in 2020, considering who you want to fight? You kind of have to make yourself unavoidable, if that's the way to put it. You have to make yourself the kind of big star that where you have to stop. You don't have to chase these guys. They're looking to get in there with you. How do you accomplish that?
Well, at this point, with me being a world champion, every fight is big. Everybody wants what you got, and so it doesn't matter. It could be a guy all the way down here. He's gonna bring his A game, because he knows that it's so much at stake. So. At the end of the day, I can't, no matter how great of a performance that I put on, I can't force anybody to get in the ring with me. That's really the fans. The fans have to try to demand that. But But it seems like the better my performances are, the less likely it is that they're going to fight me. So maybe I may have to have a bad performance for them to, get some confidence.
Your division is somewhat similar to the main event division, the middleweight division, in that the championships are spread out a bit, and these guys don't seem to be fighting no one has an urgency to fight anybody else with a belt, or it seems that way. What do you make of the middleweight division and Demetrius Andrade's place in it?
Name the middleweight guys for me.
We got Canelo as holding a title. Charlo's holding a title. Andre's holding a title. Triple G probably should be holding a title. You got Saunders. I would say those are the top guys at middleweight.
Well, those are all top guys. That's a really, really interesting division. I'm excited to see some of those guys, fight each other. Even any one of those guys collide. I'm gonna be here for it. But you're right that the 135-pound division is like the middleweight division. A lot of guys are waiting for one guy to slip a little bit for them to fight. But any of those fights happen, I'm here for it.
Is one of those guys you think a standout? If there were a tournament, who wins that tournament?
Of course, Canelo is the one that stands out above everyone. But like any one of those guys, I feel like can beat each other on any given night.
And with that said, we're going to go to one more weight division that's somewhat similar, not the same. There's only 2 people holding belts, but there's a lot of people at the upper echelons of the heavyweight division, especially the top 3. We know we're going to see Fury, Wilder again. We don't know who Joshua's going to fight next, but he's waiting in the wings for one of those guys eventually, we hope. What do you make of the heavyweight division? Who's top dog?
I would have to go with Wilder right now. I feel like, he hasn't took a loss. He's beaten everybody that they put in front of him. He's almost knocked out every single one of them. I would have to go with him. But just like the middleweight division and 135-pound division, any one of those guys can beat each other on any given night, especially in the heavyweight division because all those guys have power. One punch can change the night.
At 35, you don't see a lot of huge punchers, but there are guys who rely on power. People have likened you to Floyd Mayweather. I'll be done soon. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Sometimes I yawn when I watch my own interviews.
Yeah,
I get it.
No, it's not like that. No, it's not like that.
In the 135-pound division, you don't see a lot of knockout artists, heavy-handed guys, but there are guys who rely on power. There are guys who have heavy hands, and you have been likened to like Floyd Mayweather with your technique, your style, your craftsmanship. So a guy like you who enters the ring with those kind of skill sets, fighting a guy who's relying on power, a big one-punch guy like Wilder proclaims to me with pride. How do you deal with a guy like that? And I'm getting at that, how does Fury deal with a guy like that?
I mean, the boxer has always shown to beat the puncher. Every now and then the puncher lands, catches the boxer, and he knocks him out. But that's very rare. When you go in there and you have the ring IQ and you have the boxing ability, the speed, or whatever it is, they've shown to win. In Wilder's case, he's just astronomical puncher. He just, all it takes is a very little punch, but that's very rare. Wilder, Fury was beating him the whole fight until really the last few rounds or so. So, but it's really hard to go against him, So
I'm asking all, and they're not many to ask. So you're one of them guys who I think are really technically proficient guys. If Wilder beats Fury, knocks him out, has he changed the metric of the science of boxing? Does the puncher beat the boxer now?
No. The boxer will always beat the puncher. Always. It's just it's shown in history. It's time after time again. Eventually, the boxer catches up. Whether it may not be Fury, it may not be Joshua, but one day the boxer will win.
Well, I expect one day for you to win again very soon, probably the next time you're in the ring. So good luck whenever that is. Radio Rahim with the Dream, Devin Haney.